The envelope was lighter than I expected. Pause, that's the first thing I noticed. How little it weighed in my hand, for something that was about to end a conversation 31 years in the making. My name is Dana. I'm 38 years old. And the story I'm about to tell you cost me a mother, gave me a mother, and taught me the difference between the two. Pause. If you're new here, I tell true stories, slowly, the way they actually happened. No shouting. Just the truth. Stay to the end because the ending is quieter than you think, and it hits harder because of it. I was the third daughter in a family that already had 2 girls too many, according to my father. Pause, I don't say that with anger. I say it because it's just what people believed back then, in that town, in that decade. A boy would carry the family name. A girl was a dowry waiting to happen. I remember the dish towel my mother used to dry my hair after baths, yellow, with a faded rooster on it, worn thin in the middle from years of use. I remember it because it was the last ordinary thing I touched before my life split into 2 halves. Pause. I was 7. A couple from the city, Anita and Raj, had been trying for a child for 11 years and could not have one. My parents needed money to save my father's shop. Somebody in the family knew somebody. Papers were signed at our kitchen table, the same table where I ate breakfast every morning. I did not see any papers. I only saw my mother pack a small blue bag and tell me I was going on a trip to see my aunt. Pause. She did not cry when she said goodbye. I noticed that even then. I was 7 and I noticed. Anita and Raj turned out to be good people. I want to say that clearly, because this is not a story about cruel strangers. Anita combed my hair every night, slower than my mother ever had, like she had all the time in the world. Raj taught me to ride a bicycle, running behind me down our lane, shouting, "Don't look back, just look forward." Pause. I was a strange kid. I liked numbers. I kept a little notebook where I wrote down how much my allowance was, how much I spent on candy, how much was left over. Anita used to laugh and call me her tiny accountant. She had no idea how true that would become. Pause. On my 18th birthday, she sat me down at our kitchen table, a different table now, but somehow it always comes back to a table in this story, and she told me everything. The exchange. The money. The shop. She was shaking. She said, "I did not steal you, Dana. I bought a chance to love someone." Both of those things are true, and I am not going to pretend they aren't. I did not speak to her for 4 days. That was my mistake and I own it. She had given me 11 years of real love, and I punished her for finally being honest with me. Pause. I understand now that silence can be its own kind of cruelty. I gave it to the wrong person. At 19, I went looking for the family that gave me away. Not for revenge. I told myself it was curiosity. That was only half true, and I know that now. Their house had grown. My father's shop had become 3 shops. There was a truck parked outside I didn't recognize, dusty from some long drive. And running across the yard, maybe 12 years old, was a boy. My brother. The reason I no longer lived there. Pause. My mother opened the door and said my old name, the one from before, the one I hadn't heard spoken aloud in 12 years. She held both my hands and said, "I always knew you'd turn out fine." I want you to sit with that line for a second, the way I had to. Pause. Not, "I missed you." Not, "I'm sorry." Just, "I always knew you'd turn out fine." Like she'd been watching a plant grow from a window she never bothered to open. I stayed a week anyway. She cooked for me. There was a pie cooling on the windowsill the whole visit, cherry, my father's favorite, and I remember thinking, they know exactly how to make a house look like love. Pause. On the sixth night, I heard them talking through the kitchen door. My father said, "She's clearly done well for herself. Anita and Raj have money. We should ask her to help with your brother's college fees." Pause. My mother said, "Yes. She owes us that much. We gave her life." Something in me went quiet. Not angry. Just quiet, like a light switched off without any noise at all. I went back to Anita and Raj and didn't say a word about it for years. I built a career auditing insurance claims, a strange job, maybe, but it suited me. My whole life, I'd been the girl with the little notebook, adding things up, checking what was owed and what wasn't. Turns out that's a real skill people pay for. Pause. Anita's brother, Uncle Mahesh, used to joke that I could find a missing rupee in a burning building. He wasn't wrong. And he's the one person in this story who saw everything clearly, from the very beginning, and never once told me what to do about it. He just said, quietly, "Every few years, you'll know when it's time, Dana. You always do." 3 months ago, my phone rang. My biological mother's voice again, warm as syrup. My brother had gotten into an engineering program. Expensive. "Your family," she said. "Blood is blood." I told her I'd think about it. Then I asked Uncle Mahesh to help me pull something together. Not out of spite. Out of habit. I do this for a living, remember, I find out what's actually owed. I invited them to dinner. My biological parents, my brother, at Anita and Raj's table. They came dressed carefully, hopeful in a way that made something in my chest ache, even now. My mother hugged me too tightly. My father complimented the size of the dining table, the way you'd price a piece of furniture. Halfway through the meal, I set one envelope on the table between us. My mother's eyes lit up. She thought it was a check. I watched her decide, in real time, that she had one. Pause. "Open it," I said. My voice didn't shake. I'd practiced that. Inside was a photocopy, the actual exchange agreement from 31 years ago, the one Anita had kept in a drawer for 3 decades, because she never wanted to forget what it cost to become a mother. Under it, in my own handwriting, one line, "Debt settled in full, 31 years ago. Account closed." The table went silent. My father looked at his plate. My brother looked between all of us, caught in a story that started long before he existed, understanding for the first time that he had not been the only child at that old kitchen table who had a price attached to him. My mother's hands were still shaking around the paper. "This isn't what we meant," she said quietly. "I know," I said. "You meant I still owed you something. I'm telling you the account was closed before I could even read." Pause. Anita reached over and took my hand under the table. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. That was the moment I understood, quietly, without fireworks, that the people who really raised you don't need receipts. They left not long after that. No shouting. My father shook Raj's hand at the door out of old habit, the way you shake hands after a business deal, even a failed one. My mother hugged me again, softer this time, like some of the certainty had gone out of her. My brother looked back once from the truck. I think of everyone, he understood the most and said the least. I did help him, eventually, quietly, on my own terms, a few months later, with no announcement and no envelope. Not because I owed his parents anything. Because he never asked to be chosen over me, and that wasn't his debt to carry either. Pause. I don't hate my biological parents. I've stopped expecting to feel triumphant about any of this, too. Mostly I just feel like someone who finally stepped onto dry land after a long time treading water, tired but steady. Here's what I carry with me now, and I don't say it as a lesson, just as something true I finally understand. Pause. Love that keeps a ledger isn't love. It's an invoice wearing a warmer coat. The people who truly show up for you don't wait for repayment, they just keep showing up, quietly, year after year, the way Anita combed my hair every single night without once mentioning the bill. You don't owe your future to everyone who was simply present in your past. Some people gave you a beginning. Other people gave you a life. Learn to tell the difference, and you'll know exactly who deserves your envelope, and who already cashed theirs a long time ago. If someone in your life has ever made you feel like a dad instead of a daughter, or a son, I'd like to hear about it in the comments. You're not the only one. Pause. And if this story meant something to you, stay a while longer and subscribe. There's more where this came from.